Walker here with Associate Professor Willie Shear. The purpose of this video is just to let students know about the strategic plan and the groups that you need to form to get into it. Willie will talk to you in a few minutes about the mechanics of that, and etc. But what I want you to appreciate from a learning outcome is that in the groups of 4, you're going to have to ensure that your communication skills and the ideas you're trying to get across to the rest of the members of your group go forward in the way that you want them to. Now, why is that important? Because the modern world now is that you could be based in Australia, being involved with a construction job maybe on the other side of the planet. So when you need to communicate across the world, and taking aside the cultural and language difference and things like that, and time zone differences, all the issues that come with those sort of things, just being able to communicate and then realise that you've been able to get an idea across to somebody is very important. Now, what happens inside this, there'll be different groups. There'll be on-campus groups who can get together and have a chat over a cup of coffee, but there will be groups that have to do this by the modern connecting means through this Skype, email, Blackboard, etc. Now, the strategic plan, and we'll provide other videos specifically to the strategic plan, is important. It's important that you, as a group of 4, come up with an A plan for your company, because it's the starting point of where you start with your arousal simulations and things like that. Well, sorry, I hope it's the starting point for where you start with your arousal simulations, that you start with a plan and some objectives, and you're able to work it forward. Again, I'll just reinforce it can be tedious sometimes for students, but it is important that you go ahead and do this. We need to give you an environment to practice your communicating skills, and that's what we have to do. I'll pass over to Willie now.
Okay, thanks very much, Keith. You've just witnessed an intrusion here. We managed to get him to go away. But look, yeah, just to pick up on a couple of key points. HEX census date has passed. So if you look at Blackboard, you've probably seen already that the button allowing you to self-enroll in your groups is available. So yes, please do that. Your strategic plan is coming up as a priority in terms of assignments to complete. So yes, the arousal software is there for distance learners to install on their own computer. I did talk through the installation in last week's tutorial, sorry. And I've really got to try and encourage you to look at the recordings of the tutorials. We've never done tutorials before, but I really have been really pleased and enthusiastic almost about what we've discussed. And I think there's a lot of meat that we've never really delivered before in the tutorials. So you're going to find information about your strategic plan. You're going to hear some of the discussions about different aspects if you look at the tutorial recordings. And I think only about 20% of everybody's looked at the recordings, so I'm kind of disappointed at that. But to come back to the point I was trying to make, I've given you a steer on installing the arousal software on your own computer in the tutorial for week 4. Yes, I think that's about all I wanted to say at this stage, Keith.
Okay, well, thanks. I'll just wrap it up. I'll just point out the fact that you have your last quiz to complete. The final quiz is worth 6% of that mark for that component, so it is a substantial component. Now, we want to reward you with marks. There's not a problem with that. I'm happy to give marks. We're more than happy to give marks. But what's vitally important to us is that you actually learn something from what you're studying. And the quizzes we've found over the years have been one way of at least getting students to at least open the book, at least read the section, etc., etc. If you've done none of the quizzes to date and you decide you're only going to do the last quiz, it covers the whole of the textbook, so it'll be a task to do it. But it does mean that you get rewarded for having read the book and having understood the concepts and at least taking in some parts that we have from the readings. So I encourage students to complete that. As Willie has mentioned, the census date has passed, so now we're down to the final numbers that we're going to have that will go through to the course with us. If it's like any other years in the past, we've probably lost somewhere between 4 and 6% of students. So those that are still with us now, we expect to see active at all times and involved because you've committed to the course. Again, this course is a little bit different in as much as you don't have any absolute right or wrong answers. So the discussion we have around it, the learning outcomes, etc., is important. It's not like some of the engineering courses where if you don't get the steel and concrete right, the building falls down. These ones, this is a business theory and business concepts. And when you come, for example, to discuss inside your group of 4, your strategic plans, you'll be interested to hear what other people have to say because they might make a comment about something which you hadn't thought of.
Absolutely.
Now, if you think, oh, that's a good opinion, I hadn't thought of that, that was something I left out of my plan, and that's the value of group discussion, the value of getting together as a group of 4. So please embrace it as part of your learning, part of your course and part of your study. Because I can assure you this is exactly what is in the real world. You're going to have to sit in meetings, you're going to have to discuss with people, you're going to have to supervise staff. You don't construct something without having to talk to a lot of different people. That's enough from me. Willie, have you got anything else to complete?
I don't think so, Keith. I think that's enough at this stage. So thanks very much, guys.
Thank you.
See you later. Cheers.
Bye-bye.